YouTubers. Today I'm going to be talking all about what type of brushes and paints and stuff that you're going to need to be able to paint along with me with watercolours. So let's start with the paints. These are the paints that I generally use, especially when I'm out walking and painting outside, because they're very handy. Yeah, and you can even use the lid for mixing and stuff on your palette, use it as a palette. So they're really good. They're extremely cheap as well. You can pay a lot of money for them, but if you find a good quality set that's not too bad in a bargain centre or something like that, these pound shops tend to do them as well. You know, it's leftover stock, but you find a good one, buy a few cases of it. But yeah, I use them a lot. Now we're going to go to the really cheap stuff. Kiddies watercolours. Still use them. They're still brilliant for doing certain effects and certain things. You actually get certain colours that you wouldn't normally get in the other more expensive packets, so don't ever count them out. Children's stuff sometimes can be absolutely brilliant. I've used poster paints and all sorts of stuff along with acrylics, so never discount stuff because they're designed for kids. You can do some amazing stuff with them. And then on the bit more of the expensive side, just get a couple of colours out for you there. These are top quality watercolours, Winsor & Newton I think, yeah. And they're good. Cobalt blue, purple lake, you see, that's another colour that you'd never get with oils, or I've never seen it anywhere, so it's one of their own range. Cobalt blue, which you can get anywhere. Burnt umber, same as. But then there's like, it's called gumboge hue, and to me it looks a bit like lemon yellow, but maybe there's a touch of white in that, I'm not sure, to make it a bit more opaque, because yellows are generally quite transparent. But yeah, they're good, really good watercolours. Right, so sometimes I'll use a bit of gouache, especially with white gouache. This is not a gouache, it's a watercolour white. I like this one because it was a cheap thing, but it's got good coverage. It's not too transparent. You know, you can mix it with colours and it's fine. So you can make a peach or whatever colour you like then. You can also use it to paint on there just with the white and then do a wash of watercolours over the top, say a green, and it really gives the leaves a nice vibrant colour. So there's lots you can do with that. So that's it for the paints pretty much. Now let's go to the brushes. Now I do use the big brushes for watercolours, especially when I'm using a big piece of paper, but they're good for washes. 1-inch brush, just doing a wash for your sky or for some water, they're good. I have, what is it, a Ron Ronson brush, which I really love. That's good for washes and reflections and stuff. Really nice brush, that Ron Ronson brush. See, I used to go to a lot of art demonstrations and I would be painting there, you know, promoting what I do. And at these places you get to see all the other artists, and they all, a lot of times, have a lot more money than me, so they've all got their own products out. And while I've been there, I've managed to find some really good stuff. This is a Frank Clark brush, and it's a Winsor & Newton watercolour. Again, primarily for washes is this. It's a soft brush and it's really good for washes, but only if you're doing a big wash. If it's on a small piece of paper, I'll just use this Ron Ronson one. So that's them two. This is a lovely brush for stippling for leaves, and it's one of the best that I've found. This is a Terry Harrison golden leaf brush, and it's really good for stippling trees. I'm going to be doing an acrylic painting soon. It's designed for acrylics, but I use it for watercolours, acrylics, any water-based mediums. I'll use that brush. And then the fan brush, a good old fan brush. Even with watercolours, they come in so handy, and there's a lot that you can do with them, especially when it comes to splatter effects, like so. You know, splattering your paint on there, so you're creating some waves or something like that. They're good, really good brushes. Right, now cheap sets like this, you get them from this size to fatter ones, all in a set, £2.50 something like that, £2.50 in the bargain shops. they're fine. They really do some good stuff. You can use the corners for stippling. They're okay for blending certain things like rocks and stuff. I won't use it for a sky because they tend to leave a sharp line, but they're good for certain things. And they're really inexpensive. Now I have a lot of smaller brushes, a lot of different small brushes, but I don't use them all. You can get away with painting with just one brush, one small brush, you know what I mean? So you don't need a lot like I've got. This is just to show you the range of stuff that I'll have a go with and use for different things. This little brush here, really cheap little thing, it's just good for stippling. It's like a little round brush. It's good for stippling, is that one. And then as you can see, I've got all different sizes, different shapes, but the liner brush is one of the most important. A nice sharp point is needed for the liner brush, and I find, because this is a Bob Ross liner brush, and it's just the perfect length to hold the right amount of water for what you need, especially with watercolors. But it's designed for oil paints, but I can much prefer this for rather than other ones for using watercolors. There's a lot of liner brushes for watercolors. I use smaller ones as well, like, look, that's a tiny little bristle on it, but that's more for doing tiny dots and stuff like that. If I want to do any sharp work, if I just wet that, and a really fine work, see how fine point goes on that? And then Bob Ross brushes are good, so never discount them. They're a bit more expensive, but worth the buy. Once you've got it, it's there. I've had this for about 7-8 years, and it's still going strong. If you keep them clean, they'll last a long time. I know a lot of people who throw the brushes away after using them and stuff, and that's just ridiculous because they don't clean them and leave them dirty and stuff. Just be methodical when you're painting. Like I say, you can even use a 1 inch and even a 1 1/4 inch brush for the blending. Sometimes you can use them good for stippling, certain stippling effects. Grass, there's a lot you can do with them big brushes. Right, now a palette. If I want to mix a big amount of a certain colour, I just use these little plastic plates, throwaway plates, although I don't throw them away very often because I just clean the paint off of them and use them again. They're reusable completely, you know, should last for you ages and ages. But yeah, if you want to mix a decent amount of colour up, say you're doing a big painting, you can have 3 or 4 of these laid out with painting. Do your washes, so it's all there ready for you. And when I'm demonstrating, that's ideal for me. I need to be able to do that, otherwise I'm mixing paint rather than showing them what I'm doing on the canvas or on the paper. So, plastic plates, good. Also, loads of different mixing palettes that you can use. Just normal plates, I find. Because I always need a good area. Right then, let's go on to masking tape. We need masking tape. It's really important because you can tape it to a board then, your paper, when you're doing a watercolour painting. You can do it straight from a book. Like I've got this little book here. This little book is, I bought it because I liked it. I've been just doing a bit of, showing my nephew a bit of pencil sketching techniques. But it's thick paper. Therefore you'll get away with using it for watercolours. So this is going to be my watercolour sketching book for this year. So you're going to see a lot of that this year, this book. And it's going to be full by the end of it with paintings. So I look forward to filling that. Right, now watercolour paper. You're best off buying a good quality watercolour paper. Now everyone's different. Some like the smooth, but I like a watercolour paper. I'll see if you can see that if I move it about a bit. With a bit of a grain. You can get different grains, but I like quite a rough grain me with watercolours, because it allows you to use the brush on its side, like so, and you can just drag the watercolours across the surface. And if you use a darker colour on top of a lighter colour, it's perfect for like paths and all sorts of brilliant effects, and it gives you details without even really having to do that much. So a good rough watercolour paper is what I generally use, and I get a big sheet of it. I'm running short at the moment. Buy it in big sheets and cut it up into little size pieces I'm going to use, do little booklets with it. Make little booklets so you can just take that out with you and do some sketching and little watercolour sketches. But yeah, best to have plenty of that. I need to buy some actually. Right, you need a jar with some water in it. Any sort of jar will do. I like to use, at the end of a painting sometimes, certain ones, say I'm doing a castle or something like that, in the dark shadows, I like to use just little fine, these are like fine liner pens, really different. They're good, they've got different grades. It's the sort of thing you use for pen and ink drawing, and I use them for that. So these are good for pen and ink, but you can use them in watercolours too. Got a couple of different makes there. There's a permanent one, permanent marker, but they're really fine. They've got a proper fine tip to them. Show you that. See how fine that is? Really fine tip to them then. If you don't have the money to buy something of that nature, you can use just a normal ballpoint pen like that for certain details. They come in handy just for touching up at the end of pictures to sharpen certain things up. Right, also you're going to need pencils. Basically what I've got here is sort of thing I use. As long as I've got a good sharp HB and a few softer ones, I can more or less paint anything, draw anything with pencil. What the darkest shade is EE, I think. That's the darkest shade anyway, but that's the darkest shade I've got, and that's really soft, is that, so it's brilliant for shading and shadows. That's another soft one, a 8B. And then we've got our little pastel pencil, which I'll sometimes use along with pencil drawings. Like I said, the HB, you can get HB right through the range to these softer ones, but you don't necessarily need them. Just buy a set of pencils, and if you can't get the softer ones, just go to an art store and get them separate. That's what I've had to do. Right, so that's them. Obviously you're going to need some good rubbers. Now I like this one particularly, this is what I use generally. It's got sharp edges, therefore you can rub out pencil in detailed areas. You can actually draw with this rubber. With most rubbers you can draw, you just use your sharp corners. You can do loads of different effects with it. A couple of different rubbers there. Also, which I haven't got because I've used them, putty rubbers. I use putty rubbers quite a lot. They really are good for smudges or anything of that nature. Putty rubbers are brilliant. They're good for drawing out as well. You can roll this out, these putty rubbers, into a fine point, and you can more or less draw with them. It's amazing. A couple of pencil sharpeners there. This is one I use. It's a good one. It don't break the lead, and it collects the bits for you. It's a nice sharp one that. I tend to find they're the best, but if not, you can use these small ones. They still do the job. They'll probably just break the lead now and again. If not, you can always buy the blades to sharpen them, new ones. If you get one and it's blunted, you can get new ones cheap enough. You need a good ruler. If I'm outside, I'll use a small ruler, just for convenience really. But I do use my ruler, especially for certain measurements and stuff like that. Now I think that's it. We've covered every facet there. Thank you, and I'll speak to you all soon. Right, I just wanted to take this little opportunity to show you a few pictures. Some I've never been shown before on YouTube. So, first of all, this is one I did for a friend of mine. It's actually a friend who sadly passed away last year. A friend called Dave. And I did this picture for him. It was for one of his family who had this car. He owned this car and he used to race it. And the photograph's not very good, but you can sort of like see the sort of thing. I did different pictures from different angles, splashing through a puddle, and put the sky in and then blended it so they all sat around each other. That's an old memory. Rest in peace, mate. Think about you all the time. So anyway, this is another one which I painted when I was probably about 16, 17 in oil paints. I love the sky that I did with that, so dramatic. Lovely sky it had, and then these bushes and that, and there were a little pond just in here, just showing a little bit of light. I'll have to paint that for you YouTubers anyway, just so that you can see how to do it. All the light on top of the clouds and everything, and the drama in that. I loved that picture, really enjoyed doing it. And there's another part of the picture just there that you can see as well. That was a big painting, you see, so I took little clips of it, and this is all that's remained, unfortunately. But that's a wet on wet oil painting that I did there. So that's that. This is another old one that I did when I first started Bob Ross style of painting. And again, that's another one I'm going to do on YouTube, because I think it'll be quite popular, and it's quite a straightforward, simple one, so other people can try it. I like it. I like to do pictures that anyone can try, anyone can do, as well as the more detailed ones. And we've got this picture I did, which is very detailed. Lake districts, Derwent water. All these lovely trees are in autumn colours. Beautiful mountains all around. I'll be doing lots of paintings and stuff like that as well this year. I love the Lake Districts. One of my favourite places. What we got next? Fackley Woods. Now that's a relic in my mind. Now that is an old picture. I hope these are standing out because there's a glimmer off the light and stuff. But yeah, all the bluebells and stuff in there. The trees, Fackley Woods, that's my home turf. And then picture of Rydale in the Lake District. I actually did something similar on YouTube, but I didn't spend as much time, so I don't think it was quite as good as that one. My mum's got that hung up in her room now. She wanted that. Good memories. I do love that. It's gorgeous. You've got the little rhododendron bushes in here in purple. Really fun painting to do with that. Is that them all? Yeah. Right, and then there's some more photographs here. The paintings, some of them you've seen on YouTube, some of them you might not have. That one for starters. This one's on YouTube, there's the video for this. I'm on my cart channel. This is painting Yorkshire Dales, is that? All birds in sky and stuff. And all the lovely rocky outcrops of limestone. And shadows in there and the depth in the distance. So that's another one I was really proud of. I enjoyed doing that too. Didn't get the views it demanded, but that's because I didn't have a clue how to promote on YouTube, otherwise it'd have got many more views. But yeah, it's a lovely memory from when I did that. And then this is another old one. A friend of mine's got this. This is Malham Cove. It's not a very good photograph, but you can see the colours in the sky and the rocks. It's quite sunset time with the stream coming down through here. This is looking down from the top of Malham Cove, is this one. Put that to one side. One from the gallery, which I did. Something a bit more modern, titled Eruption. And that was a 3-piece canvas that I did. And someone will have that on their wall right now. Yeah. I enjoyed doing that. I do like a bit of... I just have a bit of fun now and again. Another photograph from the art gallery. I think most people have seen this one. Quazu Falls in Brazil. A few of the other ones which I've done before. A few more modern ones with the flowers and that. Florals. And then my rainforest one just in the corner there. Another piece of modern art up there. See, you can, there's a full variety of stuff which we do here at Natural Wonders. We're not just a one-trick pony. I just love art. Just love everything about art. So you have to try different things to know whether it turns you on or not. Right, another one which I want to show you is a photograph of Twistleton Scar. Did that in oil paints. That's a good photograph actually. Got a good pic of that. It's not often that you can get good photographs of your pics, but that is a beauty. I love that. Twistleton Scar It's like malum, it's close to malum actually, with the limestone rocks, but because it's a sunset scene, all the colours are reflecting down onto these rocks, the oranges and the purples, quite vibrant. And then another one which I sold quite fast. Lovely reflections from the sky, basically, just a simple scene on a black canvas, but with lovely oranges and reds and yellows. Some nice contrast with the darks and the lights in that. Quite a modern style piece. No wonder it sold so fast. And then, you've seen this before on YouTube, but they're really blurred pictures on the videos, and they really don't show you what the picture is actually like. So I'm hoping that with this, you'll be able to see all the detail I put in the actual wires and everything. If I put it close enough, maybe I might get lucky. So you can see that, and the reflections I did in the water from the lights on the bridge. Also, if you look in the background, you'll see all the lights from the buildings and stuff on here in this dark strip of land. So I'm quite proud of that. Sold that on, I got a commission when we first opened gallery to do that. Good memories. I mean, it's a shame the gallery didn't last out, but that's economics for you. Who knows, we might get there again sometime if we work hard enough. But yeah, that was a really good, fun painting to do. I'm doing it at different angles because I know it's going to glimmer with the light, so I'm trying to get it so that everybody gets a good look at that one, because you haven't seen it properly before. I hope it's standing out. Right. Got one here that's quite old, an old one that I've done, and that is Yorkshire. I'm trying to remember exactly where now. A friend's got that, an old friend of mine called Brian. He bought that painting and it's up on his wall. That's again another relic. That's probably from when I was 17, 18-year-old. That just started wet on wet. But I love the sky I did on that. It seemed to turn out really well. There we go. This is like what's the word for it? An estuary, if you like, and the tide's gone out. Everything's all wet. I should have put a few little hermit crabs out there, shouldn't I, and stuff. Right in details. Some artists do that. I don't specialise in that. Although I have been known now and again to hide things in the painting. Little rabbits and stuff like that. Have a bit of fun with it. But yeah, it's another nice one that I've done in the past. Now I'm down to just a couple of sketches. So I just want to show you sort of thing I do when I'm doing preliminary sketches for paintings. That's one what I did for Dick Pronecki's cabin. That. But I like to do a lot of sketching of my work. It sort of like homes you in on your subject matter that you're doing, what you're painting or drawing. That's that. I think there's, hey, Dick Pronecki on back. That's a cutout, paper cutout that I used. Simple, just for painting around with oils, and then I've painted him in separate. So that's and then got a little icicles and stuff on the side of his. This is his wood store, picture of his wood store, and I've signed all the preliminaries that I do now. Sign everything. And there's another one of his cabin from a different angle. I love that one. I really do love that. I got loads of different shots of his cabin from different angles, and that pencil drawing, really did enjoy doing that. And the painting, it was for Silence and Solitude on my Mick Art 33 channel. Yeah, so drawing, pencil drawing, quite important. If you're not very good, it's not a problem, you know, you just learn how to use the medium, and that's what I'm going to be teaching. I'm going to be teaching everyone how to use pencils, how to do paintings where you don't need to use pencils for people who don't want to do that, everything. So just look forward to this year. Take care everybody, and speak to you again soon.